All right, welcome back to Close Up. The governor's budget proposals at this point are just that, proposals, but with Republican control, both the state Senate and the House. It will be a fight for Democrats to change what they believe needs to change. With us to discuss that topic, we have Democratic Minority Leader, Senator Jeff Woodburn. Good to see you, sir. Thanks for joining us. So yeah, first blush, how do you grade out the governor's first budget address?
Well, first, we look forward to working with the governor. We are encouraged by some of the proposals that he's put forward. It's always the details that are important in a budget process. We heard a speech. We didn't have any advance information about it to really give it a good analysis, and we're doing that. But the starting point is the facts, and starting with what the professionals, the auditors, are telling us is that we have a $160 million surplus, and the governor's saying we don't have a surplus. So there's this alternate fact world that really is concerning. But we are hopeful that we can find a way to come together, work together, like New Hampshire has done in the past in a bipartisan fashion, to craft a budget that works for everybody. But we're looking at how to expand opportunity for people, not just those to the top, but we're looking forward to it.
For what we do know about this budget, and you just conceded it's not a whole lot right now, and details will come out. What do you like about what is in there? What do you think should be in there that's not?
Well, I mean, first of all, in terms of some of the investments in kindergarten, how that would be targeted, we're interested to see what the approach is in some of those other areas of substance abuse, looking to go further than where the governor has gone. But the one glaring piece that's missing is the Medicaid expansion, which has been one of the great bipartisan efforts. We've passed it and we've renewed it, and it's something that has worked. 50,000 people have health insurance today. 10,000 people have substance abuse services. So this is critical to people, and they're looking for leadership, and they're looking for someone to say, we have a plan to go forward. And the governor did mention it, and it does have an impact on our budget. It is an enormous saver, and there's an enormous amount of federal money that comes into the state of New Hampshire to be able to prop up our hospitals, which uncompensated care, provide better health care, all kinds of economic and expenses saved through HHS and other areas.
Just play devil's advocate. It doesn't make more sense, because we don't know what's going to happen with the Affordable Care Act, with the Trump administration, what kind of changes are going to be made. Doesn't it make more sense to leave Medicaid expansion kind of isolated in its own vacuum and find out what's going to come out of Washington, rather than tie it to the big budget bill, which that could hold things up considerably?
Well, I think we need a plan, and we're looking for leadership from the governor on Medicaid expansion. We're looking for him to reassure those people who are in this services. I think it can be done. I don't agree that New Hampshire should wait and just see whatever the federal government does around Obamacare, which is over 100,000 people in New Hampshire that are on Obamacare today, getting some kind of services. So other governors, Charlie Baker to our south in Massachusetts, a Republican governor, has been very assertive of talking about what Massachusetts wants to do, as is our governor in Phil Scott in Vermont, has done the same. So we're looking for that type of leadership. I think it can be and should be part of the budget, because it is either going to be an expense to the state or expense to somebody to renew it. So we can't just have it off budget. But more importantly, we need a vision. We need that level that the governor is behind this plan, supporting of a pathway to get renewed Medicaid expansion in the state of New Hampshire.
All right, and obviously we make such a big deal of the the budget proposal. Basically now we're starting from scratch, and it's going to go back and it'll be carved up.
Absolutely. I mean, you have a situation in the House, particularly. This is a body that couldn't come together on a dress code, but did come together on changing time zones of all things. So who knows what they're going to do? I think you're going to have a very spirited debate. I think it's a much more conservative body than it's been in past years, both the House and the Senate. So I think it's much more unpredictable. I think we'll see that on issues like right to work and so many others. It's going to be an interesting session, because I don't think we can count votes the way we typically could, because we have this sort of underlying, very strong, independent, right-wing streak that's running through our legislature these days.
You bring up right to work. You're opposed to it, I get that, but when it comes to this coming week, I mean, it is going to be the issue of the week, and I imagine there's going to be a huge presence up there in opposition to it from organized labor. How do you see this playing out in the House? And I'm just asking you to kind of analyze it from your perch, because it's already passed the Senate. What's going on?
Well, I mean, I think there's a lot of politics going on the Republican side of who to blame when and if it goes down, and I think it's going to be very close. But I do think that when a governor draws a line in the sand and says, "I want this done," and starts pulling people in and really twisting arms, the governor has to win. So this is a test for the governor, and as a Democratic leader who wants to work with him on Medicaid expansion, on family leave, on other family-friendly, positive, progressive ideas. If he loses his political capital and does not loses power within the legislative branch to be able to get things done, it makes working together and bringing those Republicans along very difficult.
Well, we're just about out of time, but while there's differences, at least we can all agree that we're all Patriots fans, right?
Absolutely. Great game.
Senator, good to see you. Thanks very much.
Good to see you, Josh. Thank you.
It's going to be busy up there. And that's going to wrap up this edition of Close Up New Hampshire.